Hello artists, today we're going to start sewing your monster together. So, safety pin, if it's going to get in your way, can come out, just push it. Make sure it is closed when not in use. So leave that name tag attached because you're going to need it for the end of class. Now I'm going to show you a couple of different stitch options on some scraps, okay? For one, you will get some thread. The color is completely up to you. You want it to be approximately as long as your arm. Could be a little bit longer, but don't get carried away because then you'll have more knots. Also, we're going to be using very pointy needles. These are little crewel needles, and the hole on the needle is called the eye. That eye, it's kind of small. There are needles with smaller eyes. So we're not going to sit here and stab at it with the end, because this thread, even though this looks very tiny, is made of multiple pieces of thread that are twisted together. If you stab at it like this, it's going to shred and make a big mess, and you're not going to get anywhere. So our solution for that is we take the needle. And at every table, I'm going to have one or two of these handy little needle threaders. And it might be kind of hard to see, but there is a very fine wire on the end of it. So what we do is we take the needle, take the wire, put it through that hole, okay? So you're shooting through the hole. Put it through the hole. Then we can take your thread and put it through that wire. And we pull, and when I pull, I'm trying to grab this so it doesn't come undone. And thread is in. Now there are some who like to double up. We are not doubling up on your yarn. Double up means you pull it so it's even. We're not doing that because you're bound to have mistakes. You're bound to have knots. It's easier to undo them if we don't double up. We're just going to leave a long tail back here so it's less likely to come off of your needle. Don't tie any knots up here. The other end is the one that gets the knot. The other end, we make a loop. If you need to, use the table. That end needs to flip through the hole and pull so we have a little knot. Okay, one more time. I'm showing you some stitches on scrap. So what we would do is take your layers and open it and stab from the inside and pull. Another way to keep your thread from coming off your needle is when you pull, hold it by the eye, and then it will not come undone. Okay, now that's in, and see how the little knot is hidden? We don't see it anymore. One kind of stitch you can do is a whip stitch. It's where we're going to stab from the same side every time. So whip it around, stab, pull, whip it around, stab, pull, and keep them close together. We don't want your stuffing falling out. So this is a whip stitch. Now I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. So I'm going to get it all tangled up. Oh no, what do I do? Well, go back the way you came, or take your needle off and just pull it out. Okay, and then we rethread, and let's review that. Take that wire, stabbing it through the hole. Take this, put it through the wire, and pull. And the needle is threaded again, and you could continue going. Now I'm going to show you a running stitch. So like before, we need to thread the needle. So I'm going to take the needle threader, poke it through. Thread goes through the loop. Pull gently, leave a tail. The other end gets a knot, make a loop, flip it through the hole, pull. You want to keep it close to the end. Anything beyond the knot is waste. Hide it on the inside so no one sees it. Now for the running stitch, it's a little different than the whip stitch. Whip stitch, you're just going the same direction every time. It's just down, 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 over and over. So for the running stitch, you're turning around. So it's up, turn around, down, up, turn around, down. Some prefer to do their up and turn around right away and then go down. And keep the stitches closer together. I do not want to see gigantic gaps like this, because then when we go to stuff it, that's going to make a hole and the stuffing will fall out of that hole. If you accidentally make a huge stitch, take your needle off and, like we did before, pull the thread out and then re-thread your needle. So when I start sewing on my real monster, I'm looking for a logical place to start, like at the beginning of a line segment. So I'm going to start on the inside, over here by the eye, pull, got my knot, hiding it on the inside. And if this is wobbly on you and it's bothering you, you could take a pin to hold things. Some like to use a pin, some do not, because they don't like getting stabbed while they're working. Otherwise, just keep your layers together so they don't slide. And then begin your stitching. And while you're working, you need to make sure that you're going through both layers. Otherwise, you end up with a blowout. That means when you go and put your stuffing in, it's going to come out because you didn't get both layers caught and sewn down all the way. I've made a lot of progress on my stuffy. Anytime you are sewing, there's going to be waste with the thread. So when you have a little more than a needle length of thread left, that's where we're going to take it and we're going to hide it on the inside. So I'm hiding it in between my layers and pulling and cutting. Then we get more thread. Get it set up like before, make your loop to make the knot. Other end goes on the needle. And we're going to pick up exactly where we left off on the inside and continue your stitching. All right, I've now gone all the way around, almost. I've checked for blowouts. I've sewn through both layers. I'm stopping with 1.5 inches or 2 inches of space. Why? So we have room for the stuffing. And I'm going to just leave this attached to my project, and I will show you how to stuff it very shortly. Since your needle is going to be with your project until the project is over, you're just going to stab it in, stab it back out, so it stays with your project, leave your thread attached, and take your safety pin and put it back on your project so we know who it belongs to.